What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is TimProVision. I hope you are doing well. It has been a while since I've made a tier list, so today we are hopping right back in it with my personal tier list of what legends I find to be the most fun for me to play in Apex Legends right now. Even though this is my list, I often get asked this question, and I do my best to give recommendations based off how Apex is generally meant to be played by most players. I absolutely try to keep you all in mind for this video, but at the end of the day, this is really what I deem to be fun or rewarding or satisfying in terms of how I like to play the game. What's fun for me might be a little bit different than what's fun for you. I try to give my reasoning for every legend, but sometimes it really just does come down to feeling. For the most part, though, I am looking for an overall good time. I like legends with movement, but I also like legends with a little tactile playstyle and the ability to really shake up the way I am playing the game. Since this is my personal list, drop a comment down below and let me know who your favorite legends are right now. It doesn't matter how good or bad others think they are. I want to know. Starting off at D tier, we are going to have a singular legend, which for me is going to be underwhelming or just not too enjoyable really to play. This is going to be Gibraltar. For me, Gibby just feels like he moves way too slow, even though he does move at the same speed as every other legend, and he's slightly too tactical with his playstyle, which is odd because I do like that type of playstyle, but something with Gibraltar just does not click. I am super jealous of those Gibraltar mains out there that can get him down, but for me, he just isn't it. Don't get me wrong though, he is one of the best legends, if not the best legend in the game, but for pub smashing and just overall a good time, I'm just not a fan of Gibraltar. Next up at C tier, we have a handful of legends that I deem to be just okay, but they aren't terrible, but they're not great in terms of my enjoyment. We are going to have Lifeline and Rampart. Lifeline for me is just way too reactionary. She's never in high tier for me really because of this. I want to make plays. I do not want to stick around for my teammates to go down and then for me to really be useful with that revive. Ever since that revive shield got removed, she just doesn't have that offensive capability that she used to have. The ultimate for me is just okay. It's 5 minutes just for some okay upgrades. It's nothing too crazy. And the worst part about Lifeline's ultimate for me is just letting everyone know where I am. A lot of times I'll just hang on to the ultimate because I do not want other people to know where I am. The healing drone is nice, but it's kind of secondary. It is cool to do in fights to get a little bit of a shield heal up and health heal up at the same time. The revives, again, are the best part, but I do not like waiting for this reactionary type of playstyle. She just lacks offensive playmaking, and for me, this is really what I do. When I'm playing the game, I'm dropping, getting the gun, and I'm immediately running over to someone trying to kill them. Lifeline just doesn't really fit this playstyle. Lifeline needs to be kind of supporting the team, being a little bit slower, a little bit more tactical, and for me, it just isn't it. I will say if you want to run a more simple legend that has some usefulness though, Lifeline might be for you. The second one is Rampart. Rampart for me has never really clicked too well. She would have been D tier if it wasn't for that turret being mobile now. I just do not like the stationary playstyle of the walls, and I know you can be aggressive with the walls, you can run up, block people off, get good angles, but for me, there's just way too many steps with these walls. It's way too much work to get the reward out of Rampart. Some people might like this type of playstyle. I will say if I'm playing ranked, Rampart is actually something you might want to look at, and it's something that I do look at now that the turret is a little bit more mobile. The turret is fun, but honestly, I don't think the turret is as great as everyone is making it out to be. It just takes way too long to spin up. If you are being mobile, you're going to get lasered down unless you are really playing smartly with the turret, which maybe that's on me a little bit. But overall, Rampart is just okay for me. She's nothing too insane. I do absolutely love that the turret's mobile. Rampart did get a pretty sizable boost, I will say, in the power tier list, but this isn't the power tier list. This is really just fun for me, and Rampart just isn't it. Moving on to the B tier legends, we are going to now have legends that I think are generally a great time, but are still a little bit less used by myself at the moment. First up at B-, we are going to have Seer. I love Seer's overall lore, feel, and style, but to play him right now, it does feel a little bit odd. It's probably because I grinded the crap out of him at the start of the Season 10, and right now, I just don't really like picking up Seer anymore. I honestly feel kind of cheap using him. I don't really love his ability kit. I think that hacking through walls with his passive is absolutely broken. I can just ask my teammates or just myself, you know, look around, who's around us? Is anyone around us? Is anyone in this building? The fact that I can do that, I don't really like it. I think it's cheap. I do think he is way better than the B tier I'm putting him in for fun. But overall, for the fun tier list, I think he's just okay. I don't think he's anything too crazy. I personally like Bloodhound way more than Seer because Bloodhound I can be very aggressive with. Seer, I find I can't really do this as much. Next up at a straight up B tier, we are going to have Watson. Watson for me is actually a great time. She's fun to use from time to time. She gets a lot of negativity because, of course, we all want her to get a buff, but she's just going to keep getting nerfed, right? But for me, Watson is my sweaty ranked pick. If I'm doing ranked and I am really trying to grind out higher placement, I am going to go with Watson. But she is similar for Rampart, where she does require a little bit too much setup to be effective in my eyes. Her lore and her style absolutely excel her way higher than the B tier even for me. It's one of the best in the game in my opinion. Watson is the legend where I will look at her and understand that it's okay to enjoy underwhelming legends in the meta. I am awaiting for an inevitable buff, but for right now, she is a solid B tier. I think she's a good time. We now have 3 legends at the B+ tier. This is going to be Caustic, Fuse, and Loba. Caustic is again similar to Watson, but I find that Caustic can be used much more aggressively, and he is way more enjoyable than Watson because of this. His kind of tactical defense and offensive playstyle with the gas grenade and the gas traps I find is quite nice. He can be very versatile, and he does fill a lot of roles with the gas, which is, again, just a blast for me to do. And I, again, am rating this list a little bit on the fun of the tactical side of things. So out of the Caustic, Watson, or Rampart, the 3 kind of like more defensive legends in my eyes, I do think Caustic is the best of the 3. I think he's the most fun for me to play. Caustic is still a little bit too large and too slow for my overall liking, but he's very close to an A- pick for me. And Caustic's lore is absolutely incredible. The backstory is wild. You should look into it. And of course, Caustic does have some of the best one-liners out there. The next B+ legend is going to be Fuse. Fuse has come around in an incredible amount since his launch at Season 8. Fuse went from hot garbage to pretty viable this season, in my opinion. The clusters are so satisfying to use. I don't really know what it is, but it's weird to think that these small hits of 5 to 10 can't be fulfilling. I think it's even more so that enemies are going to have to move off these 5 to 10s, and it kind of just makes them go into a little bit of panic, which is very satisfying for me. Fuse's ultimate ability, the mortar, isn't the greatest thing in the world, I will say. I think his tactical is better than his ultimate ability, but the ultimate is still good at blocking off areas. It's good to trap enemies in it, and if you do happen to tag them with the fire, it does absolutely melt them. I just find this doesn't happen too often. Fuse does still lack something for me overall. I think it's his reliance on a consumable item, grenades. The passive ability just isn't that great. I'm not really a huge fan on it. I think he should like regenerate a grenade or something. I mean, a legend like Valkyrie, she kind of gets a grenade with her tactical ability. You know, she gets an arc star like every 30 seconds basically. I feel like Fuse should have something like this. Overall though, Fuse is definitely a solid pick right now. He is a good time. He is way better than he has been in the last season, and I think he is worth picking up from time to time. I think he's a lot of fun. Our final B+ legend is going to be Loba. She is probably my sleeper pick of the entire list. She's just a hidden kind of like gem in my opinion. Looting can be absolutely frustrating. There's nothing worse than dying because RNG just didn't allow you to get geared, and she does bypass this somewhat, and she will help out yourself and the entire team. Of course, getting ammo is just so nice too, especially energy ammo at late game. No one ever has energy ammo anymore. It's just absolutely wild. I can't run any energy gun right now because I just feel like I can't find the ammo. And if I am running with a Loba, I kind of find this is negated a little bit. Armor swapping with the ultimate is also great. And don't forget about the passive of finding loot. It is, again, just so clutch in the early game, which helps you reduce that RNG chance. She's more of a convenience legend, though, for me. So I don't really put her in the high tier because, of course, I am going to try to kill the enemies as fast as I can. And Loba maybe isn't the best in fights. I do love her bracelet, but for me, something does feel a little bit off about the bracelet. I don't think it's quite as good as I wish it was. You know, teleporting sounds amazing, but I just find that the bracelet is missing something. I'm not quite sure what it is. But overall, I'm picking Loba for the loot. I'm not picking her for the bracelet. And she is at the top of my B+ because I do think she is a great time to use. If you guys are enjoying this video, do a huge favor for me. Hit that like button. I super appreciate it. And go follow me on Twitter if you want to interact with me. That's also where I post all the updates for all the content here, Twitch, TikTok, all that good stuff. I appreciate the support. Moving on, we are going to now have the legends that I like to run pretty often. I deem to be amazing and a great time to use. Starting us off at A-, we have 2 legends. We are going to have both Mirage and Bangalore. For Mirage, I think he is absolutely underrated, especially when it does come to the fun category. I honestly have a blast with Mirage. He's not the greatest with power, of course, but he is oddly satisfying to play. It really just has to do with bamboozling your enemies and really just confusing them. His tactical absolutely needs work. I do not think his tactical ability is any good. I think it's actually pretty bad. I don't really find many uses for it other than trying to find enemies. You know, you send out the tactical, they shoot it, you can see where they are. Other than that, I don't see much use with the tactical. There's, of course, little tricks you can do, but I just don't think it's that great. The ultimate, though, is absolutely wild. 60 seconds for an ultimate, crazy amount of timer. You can use this thing a dozen times in a game. Honestly, it's just a pure clip maker. I think it's a little bit slept on, if we're being honest. When you pop a Mirage ultimate and you pop out from around the corner and an enemy comes into your sight line, they have a very hard time telling who the Mirage is if you are being smart about it. Mirage is not top tier for me because his power does rely a little bit on the enemy's skills. He's definitely hard to use if you are in tougher lobbies. I don't pick him for power, though. I'm picking him up for some chill games and some laughs. Mirage is my fallback if I am having a bad day of Apex Legends and I really just need to completely throw everything out the window and I need to go to a legend that I know can be a little bit more fun, slow things down, and try a little bit of a different type of play style. Mirage is that pick for me. On the opposite side of things, almost, Bangalore is a very underrated legend for me. Bangalore is a very natural legend to play. I think I might start recommending Bangalore a little bit more if you are a newer player. Bangalore can be used in an aggressive fashion, defensive, support. She can be used for pretty much all of those. She's really like a jack of all trades. Her passive speed boost, I think, is probably one of the more underrated passives in the game, and this passive is so much fun to use. I love running at enemies when they're shooting at me. If they miss a little bit, I get a speed boost. I can run right up to them so fast that they are just not expecting it. And likewise, I can also run away and really just escape and try to have a lot of survivability. I wish her smoke was better. I'm not gonna lie, her smoke right now is almost a detriment if you're not coordinating with your team, especially if you don't have a Bloodhound on your team right now. Bangalore's smoke is almost like not any good because a lot of the other teams have scanning legends. All in all, though, I think Bangalore is a little bit forgotten about. I've been using her a lot more in Season 10, way more than I have probably in like the last 3 seasons combined. She's a very natural legend. She's a lot of fun for me to play. I am definitely going to be using Bangalore more in the future. Moving on, at a straight-up A tier, we are going to have 3 legends. We have Revenant, Wraith, and Valkyrie. I'm going to start off with Wraith because she is the legend who I have the most kills on. She is my most played legend. While she doesn't really have movement like Octane, she might be the best legend to take if you are looking to do a little solo squads where you're going in as a solo with no teammates, because she does have reset capability with the tactical. She is not S tier anymore in my book. She is just an outdated legend where she has not had really any changes in a long time. If anything, she's only had nerfs. She's still a blast to play. She reminds me of the old days of Apex Legends. And for me, that is enough. Her passive, though, isn't the greatest. I think it's actually pretty much garbage. But the portal is pretty good. But it's not as good as something like Octane's Launchpad. And it does take longer to get it. But for me, Wraith is really all about nostalgia. And I do think she's still a solid legend. She's like top tier A for me. But all in all, I do pick up Wraith because she is a fun time. Valkyrie, however, on the other hand, I think is a top tier legend in the game of Apex right now, even better than she has been in the last couple seasons, because people are figuring out that Valkyrie is just so good for movement, and not just because of the jetpack, for those rotations. However, though, her jetpack is very free-flowing. The ability to just scoot yourself up on top of roofs and buildings really quickly is so dope. And even though you can't use your weapons, I do find that those little tap bursts with a jetpack is pretty fun to use, and it's a good time. The beacons are, of course, a plus, being able to ping the beacons, and the passive is so good, being able to mark players while you are flying in the air. It's absolutely just insane if you are a pub smasher and where you are trying to speed up play, you're really trying to find enemies. These two combo of the passive and ultimate ability are just so good for pub smashing. I think her tactical is actually mega underrated, not talked about enough. It's basically a free arc star every like 30 seconds, and I think that the stun combination with doing a little bit of damage, it makes people get out of cover. Valkyrie, I think, is still underrated, though. For some reason, I just don't see enough conversation around her. She's going to be used a lot in the ALGS coming up this year. I think you're going to be loving Valkyrie a lot. I would not even be surprised if she gets a nerf. I think the timer on her ultimate is way too fast, but all in all, Valkyrie is a blast. She's one of my favorite legends this season. Definitely pick her up. Hate to love it, love to hate it. What can I say? Revenant for me is so much fun. I don't really care what other people think. I think Revenant is a solid legend in the meta of Apex Legends. And for fun-wise, he is definitely top tier. Honestly, I think if you take away the Octane's Launchpad, Revenant is just an okay legend in my eyes. He's nothing too broken. I think he's pretty balanced. The silence is oddly satisfying to use, you know, to catch your enemies off guard. They can't get away with their grapple or their Wraith Q, and then they're just kind of stuck standing there while they try to pop their ability. I find this to be very, very useful and very underrated. The passive climbing is absolutely underrated. People don't talk enough about Revenant's climbing. It's definitely a movement ability, and honestly, the ability to just get up on roofs so quickly because it's faster is definitely just something you should be using in fights. This is more about gameplay-wise, but Revenant for me has some great lore. It's my favorite in the game. The lore between Revenant and Loba is top tier in my opinion. And much like Caustic, Revenant also has some great one-liners. If there is one thing I could change with Revenant is absolutely just to make it so when you're in the death totem, you cannot use Octane's Launchpad. I think that this just breeds toxicity. It makes players do dumb plays that they would never do. And I try my best to run Revenant when I am not even using an Octane, because I do again think that he is fairly balanced and he has a great time, and he is definitely one of my favorite legends to use right now. The final A tier legend at A+ is going to be none other than Octane. Octane for me would have been S tier a little bit earlier in the season. For me, its pad and just jumping onto people is just so much fun. Again, it's just crazy good times. You and the squad, you take that pad, you're landing on an enemy team, you're fighting it out in a gunfight, you wipe the squad, and then you're getting ready for the next team to run in. Octane might have the most natural playstyle out of any legend in the game. You got a passive health regen, you got the stim to get a little bit more spood, you got that pad to place on the ground, so you can just jump around anywhere. Octane lets me focus on gun skill, which in FPS shooters, that is my favorite thing to do. Having good gun skill, having good positioning, and Octane just really accentuates all of these things, while also making you have a little bit better movement, which again, Apex is all about movement as well. For me, Octane is not S tier just because I have used him so much in the past. I do have a good time with Octane. He's a blast to play, but again, he's not quite S tier for me just because everyone else is always using him. I like to switch up the way I'm playing and just really use things a little bit differently. Finally, we do have the S tier legends, and we have 3 S tier legends. I'm going to start off with Horizon. Horizon right now for me is still one of the best legends in the game. I absolutely love her movement. The combination of the lift and the passive really just makes me feel like I can out-juke my enemies. I feel like I can slide around anywhere and I can just get around corners a little bit easier. I can jump onto enemies a little bit easier. There's nothing better than beaming someone as you're flying up that lift and you're just absolutely lasering someone. It's not as good as it used to be, and that's okay with me. I am happy she is way better than she was last season. That black hole arc star combo also feels very good. You're going up the lift, you're throwing the black hole, then you're throwing arc star on the black hole. Enemy teams get sucked into it. You're cracking all of them because they're just trapped right there. Horizon just feels very good to play. She's another very natural legend in my book. She has some great solo potential, which I am always super into. I'm always looking for the best legend to go up against 3 teams to just make a huge play. Horizon has some pretty good lore. I think we're going to be learning a little bit more about her lore in this upcoming season. She has some great backstory. Horizon for me just feels good to play. She's one of my top picks right now. Second to Horizon, I am going to have Bloodhound. Bloodhound for me is my simple legend I pick up if I want to be extremely valuable to the squad and I want to try to have all that information coming to me. The scans, what can I say? They're wall hacking. It's so good. I don't have any issue not playing Bloodhound, but if I am playing Bloodhound, the scans just make me better coordinate plays. I know when I get up to an enemy team, I pop the scan, then I can know exactly where they are when I'm running in, having a good gunfight. The Hound is an all-around good legend who, again, lets me focus on my positioning and gun skill, since I will have pretty much as much information as I can. Bloodhound's lore is pretty dope. We've seen a lot of Bloodhound this season with the limited time quest and a lot of other little teasers. What can I say? The Hound is very simple to play. I find that they are very rewarding, and it's a good time all in all. Our third S-tier legend is going to be Crypto. Crypto is probably my favorite all-around legend for the past handful of seasons. Ever since I made that Crypto guide back in last December, I can't believe it's been like 10 months, I have been absolutely loving Crypto. Before I did that guide, I absolutely slept on Crypto. I said he was trash. But honestly, if you are playing Crypto the right way, he can be very, very good. Crypto brings a unique playstyle to Apex Legends that no other legend has. And for me, this is what I am really looking for. I'm looking for a legend that makes me think about how I am positioning myself, but who is also very good at making offensive plays. And honestly, that ultimate EMPing, doing an aggressive EMP on a squad, you're hitting them all for 50 shields. They get cracked, they're stunned, they can't move as easily. They get a little bit nervous, they start popping shield cells, and then running in there and lasering them. Something about this incites panic, and it's really, really fun for me to use. The drone is useful overall. I don't think the drone is as good as I wish it was, but it is good to pick up banners, you know, revive people without having to go up to the beacon, reloading your guns even. There's a lot the drone can do that I find a lot of people don't even understand. Crypto, again, just makes me have a challenge, which I love right now. Right now, I want to be challenged in different ways in Apex Legends. Apex Legends has been out for a long time now. It's been more than 2.5 years, and I really just want to be challenged in Apex, and I find that Crypto does provide this, and it feels very rewarding to play Crypto. I think Crypto is definitely slept on. A lot of people look at him and are just thinking, you know, you sit in your drone and you fly around with your drone. He's way more than that, trust me. Crypto is a good time for me. He's one of my favorite legends. While Crypto might be my overall favorite, I am going to say Pathfinder right now, as of making this video, is my personal favorite legend in the game. The main reason really for this is that grapple ability. The skill ceiling with the grapple is so high. I feel like I'm still learning new things with the grapple every single day, and I've been playing Pathfinder since the game came out. It is also very rewarding when you do make a big play with the grapple. It makes you feel very good, like very confident in your skill level. Clip making with Pathfinder is just absolutely next level again. I actually think the zip line on Pathfinder is very underrated and very forgotten about. I think Pathfinder can speed up play a little bit. Obviously nothing like Octane or even Valkyrie, but it is definitely underrated a little bit. Pathfinder's passive, though, again, is not the greatest. It's been said for a while that we're going to be getting a new one. I don't know where it is. It's been just rumored and rumored and rumored. Hopefully it comes out in Season 11. We'll have to wait and see. There's just something about Pathfinder that hits different. Maybe it's a little bit of nostalgia in there, again, back from the old days of Apex Legends, but I really think it's the combination of high skill plays, movement, and a tactical type of positioning play style that Pathfinder can really bring to the table. Pathfinder is my most played legend this season for pubs and ranked alike. All in all, I love Pathfinder. I think you will too, and I think you should give him a try. So let me know down in the comments again, what are your favorite legends? I would love to hear it. Doesn't matter how good or bad they are. If you want to interact with me at all, follow me on Twitter. That's where I post all my updates. I am very active there. Also, drop into our community Discord if you are looking for anyone to play. We have over 3,500 members in there. We're always chatting up. I am very active in there. Personally, we have lots of other people in there that are active as well. I appreciate the support on this video. Make sure you hit that like button, and until next time, peace out.